It was a crisp autumn morning in a small town in California, and Maplewood High was buzzing with the usual chaos of students rushing to classes. The hallways echoed with laughter, lockers slamming, and the distant whistle of the morning bell. Among the crowd was 16-year-old Emily Harper, a quiet, studious girl who usually tried to blend in. Today, however, she felt a strange unease. Something in the air felt different, though she couldn't put her finger on it. Across town, Jake Harper, Emily's father, was revving up his motorcycle in the driveway. A grizzled biker in his mid-40s, with a leather jacket covered in faded patches, Jake had spent much of his life riding with the Hells Angels. He was known in the community for his tough exterior and protective nature, but he had a soft spot for his daughter that no one could ever see. Lately, Emily had been distant, school issues, a few strange phone calls, and a sense that something was wrong, but she hadn't told him anything. Today, Jake decided he wasn't waiting any longer. The roar of his Harley echoed through the streets as he made his way to Maplewood High, drawing glances from pedestrians and drivers. There was no stopping him. He was determined to see his daughter and make sure she was safe. As he parked his bike outside the school, Jake's eyes scanned the crowd. Students were milling about, laughing with friends, completely unaware of the storm about to enter their campus. Inside, Emily was struggling to concentrate in her history class. Her mind kept drifting to the mysterious notes she'd been receiving, notes that seemed to warn her about some danger lurking at school. She tried to brush it off, but a pit of fear had formed in her stomach. She had told no one, but something told her she needed help. Little did she know, help was already on its way. Suddenly, the school's doors burst open. Heads turned as a tall figure in a black leather jacket strode into the hall, the unmistakable smell of motor oil and leather announcing his presence. Jake's face was set in a grim expression, no small talk, no hesitation. Students parted like water, whispers running through the hallways. "Is that a biker? What's he doing here?" Jake made his way straight to Emily, weaving through the crowded corridors with the confidence of someone who had seen 100 fights and never lost. Emily's eyes widened as she saw him, a mix of relief and fear crossing her face. Before she could say a word, Jake knelt down to meet her gaze. We need to talk. Now," he said, his voice low but firm. Emily hesitated, glancing around nervously, but she knew better than to ignore him. She followed him out of the classroom, through the buzzing halls, and into the empty parking lot. What happened next would shake the school to its core. What Jake found inside that school wasn't just a typical teenage problem, it was something far more dangerous. And by the time the rest of the Hells Angels got wind of it, 200 bikers would ride into Maplewood, shutting down the school entirely. But for now, it was just a father and daughter, standing in the crisp morning air, facing a revelation that neither of them could have imagined. Emily took a shaky breath as she followed her father to the far side of the school, near the old maintenance shed that few students ever noticed. Jake's eyes were scanning the area, sharp and alert, like a predator sensing danger. The notes Emily had been receiving all week had warned her something was going to happen today, but she never imagined it would be this serious. When they reached the shed, Emily hesitated, her hand hovering over the rusted door. "Dad, what is it?" she whispered, panic creeping into her voice. Jake placed a firm hand on her shoulder. "Just stay calm, Em. Whatever it is, we'll handle it, but I need you to step back for a second." Jake pushed the door open slowly, revealing a scene that made Emily's stomach turn. Inside, a group of students, teenagers she thought were harmless, were huddled around a stack of stolen equipment, including expensive electronics and personal items from other students. But it wasn't just theft. Hidden among the piles were threatening letters, prank devices rigged to cause chaos, and worst of all, a suspicious-looking package that clearly could have endangered lives. Emily's eyes widened. "Oh my God, they could have hurt someone," she exclaimed, her voice trembling. Jake's jaw tightened. He had seen violence before, but the recklessness and danger here were on another level. He knew that to protect his daughter and everyone else at the school, he needed backup. Within minutes, the distant roar of motorcycles grew louder, echoing across the campus. Students ran to the windows, gawking as hundreds of black Harley-Davidsons pulled into the parking lot. The Hells Angels, over 200 strong, had been alerted by Jake through his trusted network. One by one, the bikers parked their massive machines, forming a protective wall around the school, their faces stern and intimidating. Jake turned to Emily. "Stay close to me," he said. Emily nodded, clinging to him as the bikers dismounted. The students inside watched from the hallways, their whispers turning into gasps. None of them had ever seen so many bikers in one place, and the air was thick with tension. Jake approached the group of troublemakers in the shed. His voice was calm, but carried authority that demanded attention. "You're done here," he said. The teens froze, realizing for the first time that this wasn't a joke. They were caught in the crosshairs of people who didn't tolerate threats or endangering others. The bikers formed a line, ensuring no one could escape. The school principal, who had just arrived, watched in disbelief as Jake and the Hells Angels took control of the situation. Phones were quickly confiscated, the suspicious package was secured by authorities, and the stolen items were returned to their rightful owners. By the end of the day, Maplewood High was shaken but safe. Students and teachers alike had witnessed the extraordinary sight of a biker father and his allies protecting a school. Emily hugged her dad tightly, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you," she whispered. Jake ruffled her hair. "I'll always have your back, Em, no matter what." The story of that day would spread across town and the country, capturing attention for weeks. One father's love, backed by 200 Hells Angels, had prevented a disaster and sent a message: never underestimate a parent protecting their